Welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob Dagate, and I'm talking with Lafourche Parish President Archie Chaisson. Thank you again for joining us. We're now in August, which I think of as the heart really of hurricane season, starting to get to that crunch time. August, September, October. Those are usually when we get started hitting more and more. And right now there's one tropical storm way out by the Dominican Republic, but it's not forecasted right now to come to us, but I'm sure it's something that y'all are keeping an eye on.
Yeah, definitely, Jacob. And I say this all the time, that when June 1st kind of comes around, it's just another date on the calendar for us, right? We don't wait till the very start of hurricane season to start preparing and doing what we need to do with clearing outfalls, working on pumps, filling sandbags, staging stuff, all the fun stuff we do year round. But we're in the height of it. Typically between August 15th and September 15th is when we kind of see the flare up. I think if you watch the weather over the last couple of days, you've seen that. You kind of had two kind of waves come off. I think there's one more following those two that have come off as of the news last night. But Tropical Storm Fred floating around there. And we were talking about this during the break that, it kind of drifted. The Cone of Era touched the mouth of the river last night. I got up this morning, it kind of shifted a little bit more east. And now I think the 2 o'clock advisory shifted it back toward the mouth of the river. So it's definitely something we're going to watch over the next couple of days. As we kind of continue to get the guidance from the National Weather Service, our partners up at GOSEP in Baton Rouge. And, we hate to see these things go anywhere, and we pray for the people who are going to end up in their path, but we definitely don't want it here along the Louisiana coast, especially after the 7 trial and error versions of last year being in the cone, and then for us finally getting hit with Zeta at the very end of the season in October. Definitely something we're always prepared for, but we definitely don't want to see.
Certainly, and I think we're about 4 or 5 days out, I think, for projected landfall if it does come this way. Monday, I think, is what they're projecting it as a landfall for Tropical Storm Fred.
Right. Yeah, and I'm sure we'll continue to get guidance from not only the National Weather Service, and typically when it kind of gets in the Gulf, if that cone of error is anywhere close to us, we'll start our battle rhythm with calls with the state and the Weather Service to kind of get a better idea. We always have a call with our local partners here across the parish. From all the different agencies, from the sheriff to our universities. Nichols is coming back online next week, I think, too. So we always have to kind of think about the kids who are in school, both our elementary schools and our parish schools, the diocese schools, but also those secondary things like Nichols and Fletcher. So definitely be something we'll keep our eye on over the weekend.
All right. I want to switch gears a little bit and go talk about what happened in Washington recently with the Senate passing the huge $1 trillion infrastructure bill. It was bipartisan passed, but I'm sure it has some controversy depending on which side of the aisle you're on. But that doesn't mean that you can't benefit from it, whether or not you're against it or for it. Are there any plans or any hope for getting some of that funding for this area?
Yeah, Jacob, it was good to see it pass. How we pay for these things gets me a little nervous sometimes, but we got the opportunity to participate in a Zoom call with Senator Cassidy yesterday morning. A group of statewide officials hopped on a Zoom call with him, organized by the Police Jury Association of Louisiana, and he really went into in-depth. And I think there's a whole lot of opportunities, right? Not only from local transportation dollars that go in the roads and bridges. There's a huge portion of money in there for ports and waterways. So when we look at what our friends down at the Great Lafourche Port Commission are doing, Chet and his board are talking about the deepening study and opening up Belle Pass and Fourchon to bigger vessels that will allow them to do bigger things. When we look at the possibility of deepening that for possibilities of LNG and things like that coming to the bottom end of Lafourche Parish, those things are going to be critical. How we deepen that channel, and especially how we pay for it. This transportation bill does a lot of good for those things. What does worry me is that Speaker Pelosi has really tied that reconciliation bill to the transportation bill and said that the House is not going to pass one without the other. And I don't think there's as much bipartisan support for that reconciliation bill, their way of doing budgets, that there was for this transportation bill. So hopefully we don't see a breakdown there. I do know from looking at the little bit of the bill that I got to look at over the last couple of weeks, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that probably is not infrastructure, which is also going to cause some heartburn with some folks on either side of the aisle, I think, when it gets to the House. So that's going to be something we're going to continue to work with our delegation, Congressman Graves, Congressman Scalise, especially our two local guys, as we dive into that. But with hurricane season, with Tropical Storm Fred, all these things, all these pots of money that have come down, whether we're talking about the transportation bill, the infrastructure bill, whether we're talking about the American Rescue Plan, The parish was fortunate enough to get $18.9 million as part of those ARP funds that mostly are going to go into drainage and redoing some pump stations, redoing the way we do drainage and the way we look at it here in Lafourche Parish, but also allowed us to open some doors with Nichols, allowed us to do some things, some projects with them, and allow us to do some things with Chancellor Strickland over at Fletcher, with helping them expand some workforce development in their campus over in Thibodeau off of Tiger Drive. Going to allow us to do some things with the Port Commission, with our Tourist Commission, expanding tourism opportunities, using HTV for an example, with helping us promote Lafourche Parish through their platform and their viewership, using it to put up some better signage and some much prettier signage across Lafourche Parish so that when people drive here, when they come here, whether it's a one-tank trip like you hear us talk about, whether it's people flying in and then renting a car, we can tell them where all the fun stuff is, whether it's Swamp Tours, the Jean Lafitte Cajun Cultural Center, one of the hundreds of awesome restaurants we have up and down by Lafourche. Those things are going to be critical too. Drainage is fun, but we got to look at how we continue to do business and looking at Fletcher, Nichols, our tourism board, and all the great things those guys are doing really help.
All right. Well, you may be one of the only guys out there that say drainage is fun, but I'm the same way. I say levees are fun because that's what I deal with all the time too. So I can understand your sentiment for it. But again, thank you very much for joining us. We certainly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, especially with all that's going on, and joining us.
Good to see you, Jacob.
All right. Thank you very much. Stay tuned for more. We'll keep you updated on what's going on in the local area right here on HTV.